All right, so just settle into your seat and ground yourself through your feet, through your sit bones. And just double check to make sure your heels, whoops, when you can.
I'll get these. That's not bad.
Okay, so grounding through the feet, feeling each of the toes, maybe even bringing a little bit of separation between them. And then settling into the surface of the toes, the balls of the feet, the outer edges and the heel. And just checking that your heels are right under your knees rather than forward or behind. Good. And yeah, as long as you feel your knees are even with your hips, you're good. If you feel like your knees are higher than your hips, then you'll probably want to put something under you. It's okay from here, from what I can see. Okay, and then just have a little space between the knees, about 2 fists worth. Good. And so this is our mountain pose, just like as if we were standing. And just breathe here and continue to release the lower body downward, the weight downward. Oh, is that? Nope. And with each breath, softening the lower body, grounding down, feeling that weight, giving in towards gravity and the chair. Seeing if you can release any little holdings of tension through the legs. Maybe the groin area is tight, maybe the inner thighs, maybe the calves are tight. Just let all that begin to soften. And then coming back to the sit bones and maybe shifting the weight a little to the right and to the left so you can feel each bone. And then coming back to center. And when you center yourself, feeling the spine now growing upward. So rather than thinking, okay, I'm going to fix my posture, let the breath flow in and out of the lungs. And as you breathe in, kind of feel the spine, each vertebra at a time, releasing upward. Good. And so get a sense of the head just placed atop the spine, nice and light. And then we're going to begin by working with the toes. So you're going to extend one leg and just begin to wiggle the toes, kind of holding the leg out. So you're doing your ankle. First, I just want you to work on the toes. So see if you can isolate. Good. Yes, exactly. Just isolate the movement in the toes. All different ways that you can do that. You can scrunch the toes really tight and hold and then release. Or you can kind of wiggle them around. Okay, and then release that foot. And then we'll go to the other side. So again, just the toes. Okay, and then you can rotate the ankle. And then go the other way. And then place the foot. Good. Okay. And now we're going to work up to the knee. So what I'd like you to do is kind of lean off to the side. And all you're going to do is you're going to just swing your lower leg back and forth and just kind of see if you can really let go. So there's no tension from the knee down. Okay, so did you do both sides with the swingy leg? Okay. All right, so we're going into the hips now. So you're going to just kind of open the leg off to the side and then bring it back. And I need to make you bigger again. There we go. So open to the side and back. Good. And just release each time. So open and release. Open and release. Open. And one more time. Open and release. Good. Okay, we'll go to the other side. So just notice one side might be easier than the other or feel less effortful. And two more times. One. Rest and last time. Rest. Okay. Just kind of tipping side to side and having a little bit of a side bend. So feeling the shoulder and hip kind of coming together on one side and then shifting to the other. And your head may or may not be part of that curve. It's up to you whether you want to lean into bringing the ear to the shoulder that you're bending towards as opposed to away from. So your head would go the other way. Well, yeah, that's right. Okay. Good. Just hold it. You can keep moving if you like, or hold. And really try to breathe wherever you land. So what we're doing is we're creating a change in posture that also changes the way the breath can move through the body. Deep breaths and maybe really feeling the breath in that 360-degree area around the ribs. Good, last time. Or just even yourself out and back to center. Okay. So we're going to lift one knee. So your foot's just off the air or in the air. And then extend that leg forward and then back and down. So up, extend, and then back in and down. So notice any discomfort in the groin. Notice whether you want to, if you're on the edge of the chair, this might be a little harder. The further back you are in your chair, the easier it might feel. So that's optional to move if you need to. So lift, extend, really reach with the toes and the heel, and then back. Last time, up, reach with the heel, flexing the toes, squeezing that thigh, and then down. Good. Other side, so lifting, extend, squeeze, back. And 3 more times. 3, release, 2, release, and last time. Okay, good. So now we're gonna come up onto the toes. So the feet are still on the ground, but just on the toes. And then drop the heels. Again, up to the toes, drop the heels. So just do this a few times over and over. And just really stretching through the front of the foot, the ankle, the underside of the feet, through the arches. We're going to alternate now, so you're going to do just one foot to the toes, and then transition to the other. So it's a kind of a smooth movement from one to the other, almost like pedaling a bike or something, which I know you're very good at. And now we're going to add a little bit more. So whichever foot you bring your heel down, you're going to actually pick your toes up. So the toes will come back towards the shin. So the toes, you're on your toes on one foot and you're on your heel on the other foot. And then just kind of pick up the pace. And then you can rest. Okay. Okay, so we're going to come forward and do a forward bend. So again, you might need to scoot back if you're too far forward. And just bend from the hip crease and bring your trunk over your thighs, and we'll just rest there for a moment. And while you're here, just work on feeling the extension of the spine. So of course the tailbone's moving towards the chair, and the crown of the head is pushing out into the space in front of you. And then as long as your back feels good and you want to come down any extent to the floor, and while you're here, just breathe. And you can give yourself a foot massage if you can reach your feet. And just notice where your arms are, if they're inside your knees or outside your knees, and know that those are options. And try to let go of the scruff of your neck. And if you can really allow your trunk to rest on your thighs, just see if you can release. And breathe. So now you're going to take your right hand and you're going to reach to your left ankle. So there's a little bit of a twist in the body. Again, keeping the spine nice and long, so tailbone to crown of head. Take some deep breaths there. On the next exhalation, release back to center. Take a deep breath in the center. And then reach with the left hand to the right ankle. Your other hand can rest on your knee or your waist, or just rest on top of the other hand, wherever it's comfortable. Breathe some deep breaths there. Keep reaching out with the crown of the head. Good, and then come back to center, and in center, take a nice deep breath. Okay, wherever your hands are, if they're inside the thighs, just bring them, inside the knees, just bring them outside the knees, and start to bring your knees in towards each other so that they're touching. And you can actually use your hands if you need to kind of hold them there. And just hold there for a moment. And just notice what, if the knees want to just drop out, and notice what it takes to keep the legs stitched together. Really feel that inside fascial line from the feet all the way up to the groin. And see if you are using your hands to kind of keep your knees together, just release the hands every so often and just use the strength of the inner thigh and leg. And then you can either roll yourself up or push yourself to a sitting position again. Good job. Take a moment sitting up straight just to let the blood find its way again. Deep breaths. Okay, so we're gonna work the wrists a little bit. So what I'd like you to do, if you can, is not just circulate at the wrists and make circles, but I want you to also kind of move your fingers in. I don't know if you can see that well enough. Yeah. So it's the fingers and the wrists at the same time. And you can slow down to really feel each finger one after the other. Good. Yep. While I'm here, I'm just going to check and see if there's any more emails I need to. No, they didn't. Okay. So we'll talk to them after. And so after you've gone one direction, see if you can switch. So if you started with the index finger, see if you can start with the pinky and go the other way. And then you can do whatever you want for a bit here. Whatever feels good. Just really working out the wrists and hands. Okay, good. So just feel all that energy that is able to flow down the arms through the fingertips. Okay. So let's cross, or actually no, how did I do it before? Let me think. Yeah, okay. So we're going to take our hands behind our head and just lean into the interlacing of your fingertips with your head. So as you do that, there's a little bit of an opening through the chest, and you can kind of arch your back a little bit. The chest reaches upward. The elbows are really opening and moving back. There's a joining together of the shoulder blades. And then from here, we're going to go into a forward fold. You're going to bring your opposite knee and elbow together. So just reach toward that knee, but keep the foot on the ground. So as far as you can go, you might come all the way down to touch, or you might just hover somewhere above either spine. And then back to center. And we're just going to go from side to side. So notice what you have to do. There's this reaching upward and back with the breath, and then twisting at the waist, and keep that back elbow reaching behind you and up. And just notice where you feel this. I'm feeling a lot in my tricep. You might feel it in the waist as well, and the strength that's required in the waist. Each time breathing in and then bending with the exhale over. And then coming up again and switching. Do one more to each side. These are killer. Good, and then when you're ready, back to center. Holding here with a little bit of back extension, open chest, open elbows, breathing. And release the arms. Taking a moment here just to feel any sensation through the upper chest, maybe between the shoulders. Super opening there for me. I hope that was nice for you. Okay, so we're going to take the arms out to the sides and press the heels of the hands away from the body. So just holding here, pressing into space and feeling the lines of fascia through the chest and out both arms, all the way across. And then let's point the fingertips down, same extension. Hold and feel. Rotate the wrists so the fingers come forward. And rotate so that the thumbs are reaching back as far as is possible. So there's a rotation in the shoulder. Thumbs are reaching back. And then just go the other way, so back to front. Down. And then rotate so the pinkies are coming forward. Good, and then just release. Shake it out. Hands in front of the chest. We're gonna kind of do what we do in energization, where we open to the back. So one arm opens back, you look at that back arm, the other elbow's reaching forward, so there's a pull between the arms. Yep. Exhale, come forward, inhale and open. Exhale, forward, inhale, open. Exhale, forward, inhale, open. Let's do one more on each side. Good, and let's bring the hands forward. And wrists down to the ground. And then up, down, up, down, up, and circles open. So now the fingertips are pointing, our wrists are up instead of down. So fingers down and then up, down, up, down, up, and shake, shake, shake. Okay. Shoulders to ears. Exhale and release. Just be soft. You don't have to push or pull anything. And again, breathing in. And then gently release. Let's do this about 3 more times. Each time just really trying to make the breath soft as you release. And taking your time, each little articulation to let down. And last time. Good. Okay. So again, we're going to come kind of into a forward fold. So your hands will be on your thighs to start. You're going to cross elbow to thigh. And then press your hands together. So you're kind of, yeah, exactly. And then just look out that direction. And as you hold here, just again work on elongating from the tailbone through the crown of the head. And breathe as fully as you can. The hands are moving into each other to give you some support. And if you want here, you can play with whether the knees are together or apart. Okay, pressing into the hands to come up and into the knee to come up. And then we'll go the other way. So just first bending at the hip crease, crossing that opposite arm to knee, and then hands together, using the purchase of hand on hand to help you get some length through the spine. And breathe and hold. Good. Pressing the hands together and the elbow into the thigh to come up and release. Just let your hands dangle at the side. Take a nice deep breath and just notice any sensations in the body from everything we've done. We've worked pretty much head to toe. Just notice what feels warm, what feels lengthened, energized, maybe still tired. And we're going to do some sun salutations here. So we'll breathe in and bring the arms overhead, palms together. So breathing in. Exhale and come forward into a forward fold, as deep as you want or shallow as you want. And then we'll roll back up. And again, breathe in, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. And hold there for a moment. And when you're ready, just begin a roll up, one vertebra at a time. Head last. And then again, breathing in nice and full. Reaching the hands above, really still feeling as you hold here for a moment the heaviness of the sit bones, even as you're reaching and lengthening the spine. And opening the arms, bringing the chest forward and bending at the hips. We're going to grab hold of the ankles and elongate the spine. So you might feel your tailbone kind of peel off the chair a little bit and your chest come forward and your neck just poised right off your head poised right off your neck. So just feeling again that whole spine line from tailbone to crown of head, really long. And then release back to the forward fold and round up through the spine. Let's pause in neutral to take some nice deep breaths here. Okay, and then we're gonna just put, if you probably didn't have blocks, but I'm just gonna put blocks, and I'm going to turn so that I have the back of my chair right in front of me. So just have your hands on the chair, and then you can walk your feet back into a downward dog. And You'll want to have your heels just about under your hips. And then your upper body can go as low as you want. Even if you are kind of leaning back with your tailbone, see if you can stay on the balls of your feet as opposed to kind of leaning into your heels. And really pull up on the core, the middle tissue, inward and upward. Can you release around the shoulders and allow the sternum to kind of drop through? And you can release by just bending the knees and walking forward. Just stand upright for a moment. Take a deep breath. Shake out anything that needs shaking. And then let's also do a little bit of a cobra here. So what you'll do is you'll hold on to the chair with the wrists back, or I should say the wrists facing forward. And if that's not comfortable, because your chair is considerably higher than mine, so you might actually have your hands just over the chair, that's fine. And just let your hips come in towards your arms. So yeah, if you do it that way. And just kind of feel that bowed posture. Your heels may or may not be touching the ground, but that's the direction they're going. At the same time, the crown of the head is kind of heading upward and back. And just see if you can release to the arms and to the chair. And then let go. Okay. I think we're ready for, yep, let's go to the ground. We're going to do some leg stuff. And you don't necessarily need a strap, but if you have one, you might want one. And so we'll just come onto the back and have the knees bent to start. Uh-oh. So as best you can, with dog in hand, just let yourself relax and kind of feel now, after having sat in the chair with all those muscles that are required for sitting up, you can release all of that to the ground. And when you're ready, we're going to take one knee into the chest. And the other leg, you can keep it bent, or if it's comfortable, you can extend it. It's up to you. And just hold the bent knee and breathe. We are going to extend the leg up to the ceiling, and if you have a belt, this would be a good time to use it by just looping it around the ball of the foot or the heel, whichever you prefer, and just holding on to the ends of the strap. So whatever you're doing here, just make sure that your shoulders are plugged back into the ground. And your knee doesn't have to be, well, I would like your knee straight, but you cannot have it up so high if you can't keep it straight at a 90-degree angle. So if you have the belt on the balls of the feet, then you're going to feel probably a lot through the calf. And if you have it more towards the heel, then you're going to feel kind of the bones from the heel to the hip and really be able to plug that hip back into the ground. There's just two different sensations you might want to try each and see what you prefer. So just breathe nice and deep. Breathe and relax. The only thing that really is working here should be the hands to hold onto the strap. Everything else should be relaxed. And just note, one of the places you can kind of bring your attention to is the back of the hips on each side of the body. And just let that tissue soften in towards the ground. Now grab hold of the strap with the opposite hand of leg, and then let the leg fall to the opposite side of your body. And it might only go so far. Wherever it needs to stop is fine, and it's fine to have the leg bent. Try to keep, no, don't worry about keeping the back on the ground. If it wants to lift, let it lift. See if you can release any tension or holding through the gluteal muscles here and all that tissue of the butt. And you can relax and release back to neutral. Change hands and hold on to the strap with the same hand as leg. And then let the leg fall out to its own side, away from the center. Now this time you do want to try to keep both sides of the spine or both sides of the back on the ground. And it can be really helpful to counter your balance with the opposite arm outstretched. So just kind of feel and enjoy exploring the relationship between each extended limb, including the trunk and head. There's kind of an equality here between all four parts, reaching into four different parts of space. The long leg reaching away from the body, the outstretched leg reaching down, the head reaching up. And then bring everything back into the center and release that leg. Take a moment to just feel both sides. You're welcome to stretch out both legs or just keep them bent and just kind of feel how that leg feels compared to the other side. Okay, and then we'll go to the first side. So bring the knee into the chest, or the second side rather. Knee into chest. Just hold that for a moment and either keep the other leg bent or extended. Grab hold of your strap and let's extend that leg straight up. Again, you can have the belt on the heel or on the balls of the foot. And try to have the leg as straight as possible. So if it's not as high, that's better than having it too high and bent. And you can play with having the strap at the heel versus the toes and just kind of plug the leg back into the hip. Feeling that tissue behind the hips, releasing to the ground. No tension except for the hands having to work. Shoulders relaxed, connected to the ground and the body. Deep breaths. And holding onto the strap with the opposite hand and letting that leg fall, crossing the body. Here it's fine if the knee is a little more bent. Breathe deeply, and wherever you feel it most, just see if you can soften around that. Relax, breathe, let go. And then let's change, bringing it back to the center, changing hands, and opening that leg to its own side. Counterbalancing yourself with the opposite arm outstretched. Keeping both sides of the hips on the ground equally. And having a sense of reaching into all four directions. And then breathing in to raise the leg back to center and release. Relax. Take a moment of stillness and feel any energy moving through the thighs, all the way down the legs. And then let's bend the knees again. So bringing the knees just standing up, the feet. We're going to cross into a figure four. So taking one ankle and bringing it to the opposite knee, opening that knee and pressing it downward away from the trunk. And here we're just going to begin to tilt the pelvis towards the feet and then back towards the head. So a little bit of rocking through the pelvis, which is basically doing cat-cow with the spine, but in this figure four position. And just notice where you feel it when you tip the spine towards the feet. Where do you feel the stretch? Keep that foot that's bent flexed. And breathe with the tilting. So you exhale as you tilt towards the head. Inhaling as you tilt towards the foot. Good. Settle in neutral for a moment. If you would like to pick up that standing leg and hold behind the thigh and bring the knee towards the body, you can. Or just hold as you are. And then uncross that leg. Take a minute just to feel between your sides. And then we'll cross the other ankle over the other knee. So pressing the knee away from the trunk. And beginning to tilt the pelvis towards the feet with the inhale and up towards the head with the exhale. Slow articular movements. The lifted foot stays flexed. Really feel your contact as you move the spine, how it changes. And then resting in neutral, You can grab hold of the back of the thigh and bring the knee into the chest if you want a little extra, or just rest. And then uncrossing that leg. Both knees bent again. You're welcome to take a long body stretch if you want before we do a little bridge. Okay, and when you're ready, just bringing your toes a little closer to your buttocks. And let the thighs touch, knees together. Press into the ground with the toes and just let everything lift as a result. And just hold. Try to keep space rather than letting the chin come to the chest. Try to keep space in between the chin and chest. Squeezing the thighs together. But trying to release anything else around the legs that you don't need. Breathe. Just breathe and hold. If you need to come down, come down. If you can stay, stay. And then rolling down the spine and releasing. Now let's take a nice long body stretch. So wrapping all of the muscles and tissues around the bones as you reach away. Tight, tight, tight. And then when you release all that tightness, just let everything come back towards the center of the body and release. Good deal. So now you can get yourself comfortable for Shavasana. So if you need a blanket or a pillow or anything. Any little last movements or adjustments you need, feel free to make. And start with a deep breath and release the breath and release the body to the surface of the ground, preparing for stillness. Noticing any sensations in the body from the tips of the toes all the way to the hairs on your head. And as you breathe, begin to notice the pause at the top of the breath and the pause after the exhalation. And allow your awareness, your focus to just fall into those pauses. Note that tiny impulse to take the next breath or to release the breath held. And focus on evening out the breath so that the inhale is as long as the exhale. And the pause between is the same at the top and the bottom. Find your rhythm, that natural, effortless rhythm. You can start to bring some gentle movements to fingers and toes. Feel free to take another stretch or hug your knees in or whatever feels good. And rolling onto your side.